My sister, who is 32 years old, and I, who am 25 years old, have finally decided to take initiative and step in to help my mother, who is 56 years old, with her mental, physical, social, emotional health, and overall well-being. Throughout my life, my mom has always been inconsistent and unpredictable. She emotionally neglected me and always made sure alcohol came before me. Her alcoholism and voluntary absence ruined my respect for her as a mother and created distance between us. As I have gotten older, I have been able to learn and grow from my past trauma with her, and I now want to be more involved in her life. My mom's current living habits are completely unhealthy. Unfortunately, my mother is lazy, unmotivated, and has always been okay being alone all day, every day. She lives in a constant state of denial and never takes accountability. She has a big, beautiful house that my grandparents built, but she chooses to stay secluded in the basement. Her online shopping addiction and lack of cleanliness have taken over her entire house. This has forced her to live in the basement, which does not see the light of day. She doesn't have the motivation or desire to do simple tasks such as laundry, dishes, hygiene, and so on. She is retired and does nothing but seclude herself, play games, and sleep. She is diagnosed with depression, bipolar disorder, high blood pressure, and possible atrial fibrillation. I know she is not taking her medicine as directed because of her lack of desire to do anything. She is a chronic bailer and consistently flakes on promised plans with her children and grandchildren. Her excuses include headaches, tiredness, forgetfulness, or just completely disappearing. She has also developed extreme scatterbrain and fidgeting. This suspicious behavior has led my sister, many others, and me to believe she is under the influence of substances other than alcohol, which would hardly be surprising. I have caught and witnessed her pairing drinking with other substances many times in the past. She is married to her enabling spouse, who is 45 years old, and who doesn't care about their living conditions. He does not have any ownership of the house, therefore, he does not respect the place my grandparents built. He also stays in the basement with her and contributes to the hoard and filth that has taken over. Her spouse has a son who is 14 years old with autism, who is unfortunately living upstairs by himself in these unhealthy conditions. My mother's husband is extremely paranoid and secretive, making it impossible for my sister or me to have access to her house. The doors are always locked, and phone calls are never answered when we show up unannounced. He has no desire to motivate her and strictly wants her to be his company. He also drinks alcohol all night long with her and adds to the unopened, useless junk that has taken over the house. Not to mention, he is obsessed with buying and storing items in bulk for no apparent reason. I should also mention that my mom's husband's best friend is a coke dealer who has been extremely inappropriate and persistent with me, adding to my thoughts of substance abuse. My mother has had her dark, secluded, and selfish ways, but it has never been this bad. Her father passed away in 2022, making this the main trigger for this intense and manic behavior. She is the beneficiary of her grandfather's estate and inherited a large amount of money. She went into early retirement from an amazing government job and strictly lives off of her inheritance. She only had 5 more years left until retirement and would have received full benefits. My sister and I tried to convince her not to retire early, informing her how bad of an idea it was. But because she decided not to listen to anyone, she is now in need of a job because she claims she is out of money. She doesn't have a house or car payment. She does not have loans or anything significant that would take much of her money. Her way of grieving was online shopping, but it would still not cost enough for her to claim she has no money. Her husband has a great, secure job as an information technology professional, so I would think his income plus her inheritance would be more than enough to be very well off. She has neglected her physical health. About 7 months ago, she had a procedure to fix her atrial fibrillation heart. She has not gone back to the doctor to see if the procedure even worked. She has comorbidities such as obesity and high blood pressure, which are going to end up harming her if she does not get her overall health under control. A few days ago, I explained to her that I am concerned for her, and starting from here on out, my sister and I will be involved and in charge of every area of her life. I cannot trust her to do anything for herself, so I'm willing to take on that responsibility. I also have no intentions of involving her spouse in any decisions that need to be made since he has let this go on. His opinions, thoughts, and feelings mean nothing to my sister or me, making it pointless to involve him. Someone, please help me with a plan of action to start the process of helping her. Where do I start? Her house needs to be cleaned and organized. Her clutter needs to be put up for sale. She needs to break her bad habits, get her physical health in order, and so much more that is harming her. Why is this intense behavior happening? Is it early dementia or drug use? I'm completely overwhelmed and have no idea where to start. I work 2 jobs and I am in school, so I can't be with her 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I need her to be held accountable and use her infinite free time to get her house and health back in order. How can I monitor her progress and make sure she is completing tasks without me there besides once or twice a week? No matter how much she has shut me out or bailed on my past attempts to help, I will not back down this time. I don't want to live with the regret of not trying to help her when I had the chance. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Okay, you're not going to be able to do anything. All that will happen is that she will somehow convince you to start giving her money. I think a better idea is to inform Child Protective Services that an autistic child is trapped in a filthy, hoarded house with 2 drug addicts and work on getting them involved. Now, for the update. A few days after I posted about my mom, my sister and I decided to visit her unannounced to check on her progress. We rolled up to her house around late afternoon, and as usual, we were greeted by the usual clutter stacked high in the living room. Like, how do you even accumulate this much stuff and not throw anything away? It's a mystery. Anyway, we went inside and found her on the couch, surrounded by unopened packages from her online shopping sprees. Again, the TV was blaring some reality show, and the basement door was slightly open, which was a clear sign she'd been spending time down there again. Not surprising. She gave us a half-hearted wave when we came in, still in her pajamas, which was kind of expected for the time of day. So, my sister and I tried to have a conversation with her about cleaning and organizing, but she was totally disinterested. I mean, I can't blame her, but still. That's when we noticed a strange smell in the house. Like, really strange. So, we went to check it out. We found a pile of takeout containers in the kitchen that had been left there for days, attracting flies and making an unsanitary mess. My sister suggested we tackle the kitchen together, but our mom shrugged us off, saying she was fine with it as is. Frustrated, I decided to start cleaning anyway. I figured it might motivate her to join in. As I was cleaning, I found an old family photo album hidden inside a cabinet. Flipping through the pages, I found pictures of happier times, which sparked a brief conversation about family memories. But that was short-lived because my mom quickly changed the subject and showed signs of irritation. That's when my sister finally confronted our mom about her neglect and lack of effort to improve her situation. Our mom snapped back, claiming she didn't need our help and could handle things her way. The tension escalated, and we ended up with raised voices and an emotional standoff in the middle of the cluttered living room. Just then, our mom's husband entered the room, looking confused by the scene unfolding before him. He tried to defend her, insisting she was perfectly capable and didn't need our interference. My sister argued back, stating that our mom was clearly struggling and needed support from her family. In the midst of all this, I got a text from a mutual family friend, asking if we were okay. The friend mentioned seeing our mom out at a local bar the previous weekend, which shocked my sister and me. We confronted our mom about the outing, and she denied it, claiming she'd been home all weekend. My sister pushed further, saying that the friend had seen her, and that's when our mom's anger boiled over. She yelled that we were overstepping boundaries and made it clear she didn't want our interference. A few days later, her husband called me, saying he was worried about her health. He told me he'd found several empty alcohol bottles hidden in the basement during a cleaning spree. He asked for our help, admitting that he couldn't manage the situation alone anymore. We agreed to meet at a nearby diner to discuss the next steps. At the diner, He spilled the tea that our mom had been hiding her drinking habits and had even lost her job due to absenteeism. We came up with a plan to confront her again about her drinking and how it was impacting her life. After the meeting, my sister suggested we involve our mom's doctor for further support. A week later, we arranged a family dinner, hoping to approach the topic in a less confrontational manner. During dinner, our mom seemed more subdued and the conversation shifted to her health. Just as we were about to bring up our concerns, she unexpectedly announced she was leaving for a trip. We were shocked to learn she was planning to travel to a distant city without telling anyone, claiming it was a fresh start. My sister and I exchanged worried glances, realizing our mom was running away from her problems instead of facing them. We ended up questioning her destination, which led to an intense argument about her decision. She snapped, saying she didn't need our approval and would do what she wanted. The conversation ended with her storming out of the house, leaving us both frustrated and confused. Am I the idiot for refusing to apologize to my self-obsessed sister after she lied to our mom about me? I have a younger sister who is 15 years old and was my best friend when she was a kid. I moved to another country when she was 10, moving from Eastern Europe to Canada. But now, as she has started growing up, I sometimes feel like I can't stand talking to her, mainly because she is obsessed with looks, makeup, and clothes. There is nothing wrong with wanting to look nice and having nice things, but it seems like she is only interested in that. She has some sexist views, like believing that male plastic surgeons are better and that she would only go to a male plastic surgeon. She sends me short videos where it's just her staring at the camera and making a duck face. Everything she talks about is so surface level. I know she is still young, but I remember when I was 15, I was interested in the environment, human rights, activism, and literature. I wasn't neglecting my looks, but I always knew looks are not everything, and you have to feed your brain and your heart. Another thing is that she is obsessed with celebrities like the Kardashians and tries to get skinny and achieve the model look, even though she is already very skinny and pretty. I feel uncomfortable interacting with people who are so into diet culture because I am finally at the point in my life when I like the way I look and don't have anything to improve. Yesterday, she was complaining about her stomach and how it makes these little skin folds on the stomach when she sits down. I told her that it is okay, that she is skinny, and that everyone has it when they sit down, even models. Her response was, "Well, some people have it more than others." Then, the other day, she was complaining about how this summer she didn't go to another country for a vacation. I said, "Don't worry, you will go next year. You already go so often. Some people go years without a nice vacation like you." Her response was, "Why should I care what other people don't have?" Whenever I try to talk to her about her views gently, she gets so defensive and mean. Also, my sister worships my mom. They are best friends. Whereas I always wanted to separate and have my own identity. I used to hate myself when I lived in a house with my mother. I look a lot like my mother and have the same body type. My mother hates her body and often calls herself fat or a cow, which she did to me. Just for reference, I am still pretty and was never fat. I am a size 6. But living in the house with my parents made me hate myself. My sister, on the other hand, is super skinny and tall. She looks nothing like my mother, and I think because of that, she is my mother's favorite child. I don't hold it against my sister. I just wanted to mention it. I understand that my sister didn't do anything awful. She is just a teenager. I never showed any resentment towards her. Even when I say something out of line, I apologize immediately and gently explain why I felt a certain way. But even with that, she finds opportunities to be mean, like when I don't want to choose my mother's side during arguments with my dad. She sometimes stings me with words like, "You always do this. Mom and I think you are." To be honest, sometimes I feel like going no contact with her and my mother, but that is probably too much. It's sad to think that the kid I loved so much is now someone I would rather not communicate with. To add, I also have an older brother who was always absent and annoyed by me. My parents weren't awful when I lived with them, but I constantly had anxiety and wanted to run away from my mother. I am definitely much happier living far away from them. Now, for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post didn't have any comments. Now for the update. My last post was a bit of a mess, and I wasn't sure what to do. A couple of weeks later, I decided to go home for the first time since all the drama went down. I figured it was time to deal with it, even though I was nervous about it all. It just so happened that my visit lined up with my mom's birthday, which was kind of a big deal for everyone. We always celebrated together, and I thought it might help to ease the tension. Spoiler alert, it didn't. When I got to my childhood home, my mom and sister were there, and they greeted me with a lot of enthusiasm. Maybe a bit too much, honestly. They seemed happy to see me, which should have been a good sign, but it felt kind of forced and distant. My sister was wearing this ridiculously expensive designer dress and had on a ton of makeup, which was a huge change from what she used to wear before all this celebrity culture stuff took over her life. It's like she was trying to be a Kardashian or something. I didn't know what else to say, so I just commented on her dress, and she said, "Thanks, it's designer, of course." During dinner, I couldn't help but notice that my sister was scrolling through social media the whole time instead of actually talking to us. It was like she was more interested in influencers than in her own family. The food was amazing, as always, but it just didn't feel the same with her glued to her phone. I tried to bring up this news story I saw about body positivity, thinking it might spark a good conversation, but my sister just rolled her eyes and went back to her phone. I mean, come on. After dinner, we moved to the living room for cake, and my sister posted a picture of the celebration on social media. But guess what? Her post was all about how she looked in the dress and how amazing the cake was. Not a single mention of the family being together or anything that actually matters. I saw my mom beaming at my sister's post, and it stung a bit. I know I shouldn't feel that way, but it did. I decided I needed a moment to breathe and went to the kitchen to grab a drink. While I was in there, I overheard my mom praising my sister for her looks and popularity online. I don't know why, but hearing that just hurt. I felt like I was losing my mom all over again. So, I went outside for some fresh air. While I was out there, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. It had a link to a video of my sister at a party, acting all kinds of inappropriate and just seeking attention. I was shocked. When I went back inside, I saw my sister on a video call with her friends, bragging about her social media following. I couldn't just let it slide, so I showed her the video and asked if she knew how it looked. She just laughed it off like it was no big deal and said everyone does it. I pressed her, telling her that I thought it was harmful and that she should be careful. That's when she snapped back at me, saying I was just jealous and out of touch. I can't even explain how hurtful that was. I was just trying to look out for her, and she throws that in my face? The argument got louder, and of course, my mom came in to see what was going on. She took my sister's side and told me to stop judging her and to lighten up. Newsflash, Mom, I wasn't the one acting like a complete weirdo. The next day, we all went to this local festival, and my sister insisted on taking selfies the whole time instead of actually enjoying any of the activities. We could have had so much fun together, but all she cared about was getting likes on her pictures. At the festival, my sister spotted some popular influencer and rushed over to get a photo with them, dragging my mom along like a kid pulling a parent into a candy store. It was embarrassing. Later, she sent out a group text with the picture, just basking in all the likes and attention she got from it. I couldn't take it anymore. I finally snapped and told her that she was being incredibly self-absorbed. You know what her response was? She revealed this secret. She had been telling our mom that I didn't care about them and that I didn't want to come home. I was stunned. I couldn't believe she would do something like that. The argument escalated and I just couldn't stay there anymore. I stormed out, leaving them behind. It was such a mess. In the weeks that followed, I got a message from my mom. She insisted that I needed to apologize to my sister. Yeah, that was never gonna happen. Edit. The video my sister was in was sent by someone from her school. She claimed it was edited and everyone was doing it. I don't know if that was true. As for the text from my mom, she was upset that I didn't defend my sister. She felt I should have stayed. My sister still hasn't apologized. Am I the idiot for confronting my partner about secretly job hunting and texting during family events? My partner, a 27-year-old female, and I are fighting a lot lately, and I don't know how to fix it. We have been together for 7 years. Our lives are so enmeshed, and we have always been very much in love, the healthiest relationship either of us has ever been in. I always thought we were going to spend forever together. We have had a bit of a sticking point revolving around the bedroom. I am asexual, and they are not. But after a lot of confusion, hurt, and communication, there is a compromise of sorts regarding that. And it is relevant because it's brought up sometimes in terms of why I don't know if I am good for them. However, lately, it seems like any time we are home together, longer than a few hours, outside of work, etc., something always comes up that starts an argument. Our arguments used to be miscommunications that I thought we handled pretty well together. Just things that people with trauma go through in learning to heal and trust each other. But lately, it's been more lashing out and what feels like deliberate misunderstanding. Or maybe that's how she feels, too. There have been money problems over the last few months that were mostly temporary, and they have just taken a lot of time to catch up on. Plus everything that could run against us, doing it with ease during that period. So that led to some tension and stress. But it seems so much more than that. Suddenly, I can't seem to comfort her in a way that is effective. I say the wrong things every time, which ends up in an argument because, as she states, I don't understand her the way she needs me to. I apologize too much, and that makes her feel guilty, even when I am just expressing regret that she is having trouble with whatever it is she's facing. And I don't know how else to convey that. I don't keep up with the mental load of cleaning that needs to be done like she does, but I do clean and take care of things myself too, such as the mental load of grocery shopping, etc. So, while I'm not at a weaponized incompetent level, there have been frustrations about that. She doesn't sleep well, and I sleep too much, and I have migraines that sometimes put me out of work, although thanks to financial issues, I have been trying to actively work through those more lately, and yes, household chores. It's almost every day now that an argument flares up, and I know I am not a perfect partner, but it's gotten to the point where I don't think I am good for her at all. I have always had a constant suicidal ideation that I would never blame on her, but it has taken a toll on my mental health in a way that is really scary for me, all because I can't imagine why she is with me if everything is so wrong all the time. We are polyamorous, and that's not an issue, but I can see that even long distance, she is the way we used to be, and I am wondering if I should just let go and let her be happy again after a period of grieving, because I know we would both be devastated. I have never been perfect, but am I even good for her? I don't seem to make her happy, or when I do, it's so fleeting. We laugh, cuddle, joke, and watch things together, and we date when we have money, but there is just so much tension underneath on a day-to-day basis. Now, for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post did not have any comments. Now, for the update. I found out my partner is looking for a new job behind my back, and it's making me suspicious of them. A week after the family dinner, I found out that my partner had been looking for a new job without telling me. They updated their resume and had a few interviews lined up, which I discovered by accidentally checking their computer. Yeah, I know, snooping is bad, but sometimes you just have to. I confronted them about it, and they said they wanted a position with better pay to ease our money problems. We ended up arguing about communication, which led to more fighting in the house. I suggested we sit down and discuss our finances, but my partner dismissed the idea, saying they could handle it themselves. Okay, but what does that even mean? The next day, my partner took off for a job interview without telling me where they were going. When they returned, I asked about the interview, and they seemed distant and distracted. I pressed them for details, but they only gave vague answers, which made me suspicious. We had plans to go grocery shopping together, but my partner canceled at the last minute, claiming they were too tired. So, I ended up going alone and saw a couple in the store who looked familiar. They were friends of my partner's from work. I overheard them discussing a new project at the office, which my partner hadn't told me about. I confronted my partner again about the secrecy, and they snapped at me, which led to a big argument. They accused me of not trusting them and said I was suffocating them with my concerns. The following weekend, we went to my sister's birthday party, and the mood was cold between us. During the party, I noticed my partner texting someone under the table, which made me anxious. I tried to casually glance at their phone, but they quickly hid it, making me more suspicious. When I asked who they were texting, my partner said it was work-related, but I felt they were lying. At the party, my brother joked about my partner needing to lighten up, which only made things worse. I spent most of the evening trying to engage with family while my partner sat away, scrolling on their phone. After the party, I brought up the texting again, and we ended up in a big fight in the car on the way home. My partner accused me of being controlling, and I shot back that they were being secretive. The next day, I decided to give them space and went out for coffee by myself. While I was out, I ran into my neighbor, who mentioned seeing my partner with a coworker at a local bar a few nights ago. I returned home and confronted my partner directly, asking if they had been at the bar. My partner got defensive, saying they were out with coworkers, but insisted nothing was going on. They were initially resistant, claiming we should be able to fix things ourselves. After a long talk, my partner agreed to try it out, realizing the strain it was putting on us. We scheduled our first session for the following week. On the day of therapy, my partner opened up about the stress from work and how they were feeling overwhelmed. I shared my concerns, and we started to make progress in understanding each other's perspectives. We agreed to be more open about our feelings and communicate better moving forward. As we left the therapist's office, my partner surprised me with dinner plans at our favorite restaurant. I know it's only been a couple of weeks since we started therapy, but things have honestly improved a lot already. I feel like we're really starting to understand each other better, and my partner's been more open about sharing what's going on in their life. I still have a few trust issues to work through, but I'm getting there. The job search is still happening, but now we're talking about it together, which is a relief. I'm just hoping this is a step in the right direction for us. If anything crazy happens, I'll make sure to update. To answer a few questions, my partner initially kept the job search private because they wanted to surprise me with the news of a new position. They didn't mean to hide it, but their stress made them a bit secretive. The reason they were distant after the interview was due to nerves about potential changes at work. The texting at the party was related to work, but I understand why it made me uneasy. Overall, we still have work to do, but progress is happening. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.